here and we're reviewing this, the BMW X5M. Welcome back to the channel, and if you've never watched my channel before, my name is Serge, and usually we review cars on this channel. However, today we're doing something a little bit different. We are reviewing a rocket ship. Yes, that's right, you heard me right. We are reviewing a rocket ship because, my goodness, what BMW has created here is, if this thing had wings, this thing would fly. That is how quick this car is. Anyways, we have the BMW X5M, 2016 model, stock standard, with a huge V8 twin turbo powered engine. 0 to 100 is rated at 4.2 seconds. 4.2 seconds in a car that weighs 2.2, almost 2.3 tons. Like, that's mind-boggling. Anyways, today we are going to go to all the ins and outs of the car. We're going to take it for a nice drive, of course, as we always do. You know what? Let's just get straight into it. Underneath this huge bonnet lies a fighter jet engine. Yes, that's it. It's a fighter jet engine. It's actually a twin turbo V8, which produces 423 kilowatts. Yeah, you heard that. That's 423 kilowatts and 750 newton meters of torque. The tires, they are running on 21-inch wheels. Look how huge these tires are. Like, they're bigger than my head. Like, they're huge. And the back ones are even wider. From a perspective, the back tires are as wide as a McLaren 720S. On a SUV, on a family SUV, where you can drop your kids off to school and all the rest of it. And of course, they're driven on Michelin Pilot Super Sports, because nothing but the best. Oh, and guys, other than this little vent showing that it's an X5M, these are active air vents. The beautiful thing about the X5M, and some actually don't like it, but it looks like a regular X5. And what I mean by that is, it's understated looks. Like, even on the front of the car, doesn't look anything more than an M-Pack X5. And that's a good thing, because when you pull up on the lights next to a supercar and you take off, the look on their face just says it all. Let's have a look at the inside. This interior is just dripping with luxury, like luxury mixed with sports, because you've got leather on these seats, yet these very buckety seats. You've got leather on the dash, yet carbon fiber too. So it's all like mixed and matched, but they've done it so tastefully. I think that's the right word, tastefully. This steering wheel, it's leather thick, and of course, to go the BMW M series, it's got the light blue, dark blue and red stitching, which is a very small detail, yet it just makes it so nice. Now, it does look a little bit similar to the traditional X5s, and if you've watched my first ever review, us driving the X5 M50D, you'll notice a lot of similarities, and that's because they don't change too much. Now, these seats are fully adjustable, yet fully bucket. Like, I mean, they hug you. The dash, that's all the same, but carbon fiber dripping not only on the front, but on the door panels as well, on the front and back door panels. So you are reminded that you are driving a sports car. And just in case you forget, there's an M1 and an M2 button on your steering wheel. And what that does is, they are fully customizable to your driving needs. So what I mean by that is, I can customize this M1 button to be, let's say, comfort suspension setting, yet sports engine setting, or sports steering setting and comfort suspension setting. So it's totally customizable. And with these buttons, it doesn't only customize the driving, but also customizes your heads-up display and what it shows on the dash even. So it's totally customizable. Now, on the center screen, of course, we've got the navigation and all the rest of it. So if I go menu, just your regular iDrive system. Under here, we've got all your controls for the stereo, for your air conditioning, and this is where it gets very interesting. You'll notice on this gear stick, it looks a little bit different to most, and that's because there's no park button. And M cars never have a park button. So it gets very confusing when you turn the car off and there's no park. What it does have is a neutral, a reverse, and a drive/sports. Now, if you're in sports mode, unlike most cars where it's automatic sports, no, it becomes manual. And when I mean manual, it will not gear up unless you gear up. And that's a rather eerie feeling, because any other car I've driven, from first to second at least, it will change on its own. From second to third, it might not. So if you rev hard in gear 1 and you sort of hit the limiter, it's not going to change for you. You're going to change yourself. But over here, we've got 3 buttons. We've got the steering button, we've got the suspension button, and we've got the engine button. So you got 3 modes for each of them. You've got Comfort, Sport, and Sports Plus. Now, the car does ride on air suspension. And this is where it gets interesting, because when you go around the corner, it's got something called active ride, which means when you're going around a corner, this thing will handle better than most sports cars. And yes, it's hard to imagine a 2.2 ton, well, it's actually almost 2.3 ton car going around the corner and handling better than sports derived cars. It's wait till we go for a drive. Anyways, you can change the engine modes, and with changing the engine mode, it actually changes, I'd like to say the exhaust, but it's an orchestra. There's an orchestra in the back of this car, and it produces this beautiful sounds when you're changing gears, when you're driving the car. It's an orchestra. And the steering, it can make it really soft. So if you're in comfort mode, it's really soft. If you're in sports mode, it's a little bit harder. And in Sports Plus, it's really tight, like really tight, and you feel really in control. And this button here, that's your M button. So not only can you change the steering, the suspension, the engine, but this is the M button, and you got 3 modes for that. And my goodness, what a difference that makes. It's just the force of nature. Oh my goodness. This car doesn't make any sense. Just to put in perspective, guys, the Aston Martin that we drove had less power than this car. In an SUV, in a family SUV. I can sit 5 people in here comfortably. I can have a full load in the back comfortably. Anyways, guys, this is a 2016 model, which at the time was the fastest SUV ever built. I mean, this particular model. The car's efficiency in terms of fuel is actually rated at 11.1 liters per 100 k's in a twin turbo V8. Okay, and you know what, I'm actually achieving 13.9, which I actually expected it to be a lot more than that. Anyways, 3 different drive modes, and that's for your steering, your suspension, and your engine. Now, you can hear the cars a little bit louder. That's because we're in Sports Plus. However, if I was to put the engine into efficient, it's quiet. The steering is still heavy, just because I've got still that in Sports Plus. But if I did that into comfort, look how much easier that is. Like, okay, I understand you probably can't see it, but it's a lot easier. And now the suspension's in hard. But if we go suspension comfort, all of a sudden there's a little bit of sway in the car, there's a little bit of give, which means that I'm not going to be stuck to my seat when going around the corner, even though that's probably what I want in a car like this. Now, alongside your 3 drive modes for the engine, there's also another button, the M button, which we touched on briefly, the 1, 2, and 3. Now that is, there's no other way to put it. It is like road mode, takeoff mode, and then flight mode. That's what this button is. Because mind you, if I put it into the second button, and let's put the engine into sports, let's go Sports Plus. bit twitchy. It's a bit twitchy. And now if I put it into the third one, whoa, whoa, the car just becomes super twitchy. Like if I just tap it, oh, it's just holding the gear. Like that's in drive mode. It's like this weird sensation, like the car all of a sudden has more power, or it's unleashing full of its potential. This magical button right here. Oh my goodness. Oh yes. Whew. And still got the start-stop technology. Let's turn that off. The sounds that come out of this car. Around corners, you think, yes, big SUV, there's going to be a lot of roll, you're going to be going sideways and this and that. Nah. No. This car, okay, this car rides on the air suspension, which means that it can adjust how the car handles on the road. Look at that. There's zero roll in the car. And that wasn't even in firm suspension. That was just in comfort suspension. Now that's because with the air suspension, it's got the active ride. And the active ride technology means that it knows how to adjust the suspension when you're going into a corner. So along with how you're steering the car, it's going to be proportionately leveling out the car, which means that if you take this car to the windy roads of the mountains, this will outperform most sports cars. And you know what I love? These M buttons, how they're so customizable. Like I can put it into M2 button, straight away it's manual, straight away sports plus, sports plus, sports plus, and in the third M button mode, and it changes my heads up display as well. So now it's like all colorful and everything. And now that means if I go into gear 2, that's gear 3, gear 4, and the gear changes. The gear changes, they are absurd. They are so quick. Look at that. It's instant. It's instant. Okay, here we go. We can accelerate. Let's go gear 2. Gear 1. Oof, lets me go to gear 1. And let's go. Oh! Wow! What a good day! Oh! Who needs coffee when you got a car like this? Woo! Oh, gear 2 is appropriate. Like it just holds, it just grips. Okay. Okay. And I really appreciate how classy the interior is. It's not over the top, which in 2016 it could have been. It's not too little, but it's such a nice mixture of both sporty and elegant. This leather mixed with carbon fiber, I just think it looks fantastic. It's just this beautiful blend of both. Now, there are a few options they can get on the X5M. And when I say a few, I mean a lot. And if I was to say they were cheap, they are not. I think you get where this is going. So you can get an option for around 10 grand. I think it was like about 9,500 as an option for the merino wool finish. That means you got merino wool on all the seats, and you got an Alcantara roof lining and a few different trim levels. There was another option, and this one cost 10,200 for your sound system. So the car comes with Harman Kardon to begin with, and it is actually a very good sound system. I was actually very surprised. But for an extra 10,200, you can get a Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is 10 grand. Heated steering wheel and heated rear seats, that was 1,400. You can have front air conditioned seats, that was 1,500. And you could get rear privacy like screens, that was around 900. You could get soft closed doors as well. Soft closed doors, I think this is actually the most reasonably priced. Soft closed doors were 900. Like, that's quite a large piece of technology in all 4 doors. Anyways, that was 900. A climate control windscreen, which I don't know. That was around, I think, $600 or $800. And then the other option was you can get sun protection glazing, which I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what that is. But that was around $600, I think, or so. And that's not even all the options that I've gone through. I think there's a few more. But yeah, as you can see, this car was over 200 grand to begin with. And then, like, just very slowly and very quickly you can spend out 30 grand in options. It wasn't hard. Just all you gotta do is tick a few boxes. Hey, yeah, I want this, I want that. Anyways, this is a stock standard X5M, and you know what? After driving it for a few days, I think this is plenty. Like, who needs merino wool in your sports car? Not me. I'll survive. I'm good. I'll keep my 10 grand. Now, the only annoyance which I have with this car, this headrest, I'm not sure if you guys can notice, but it's got this ball here. It feels like a ball where your head lays on, and it's sort of like you're either above it or you're below it, or someone like me, I am on it, and it's annoying. And there's no headrest, as you can see. There's no headrest because these are the bucket seats, so it's sort of like you get what you're given. Anyways, what a car. I just you know what it is about this car? Nothing about it makes sense. Like, if I'm driving it now, yes, it's an X5. But if I put my foot down, my head starts spinning. And I say that with a half joking manner and half not, because quite frankly, I've been driving this car now for the last few days, and there have been times I've come out of the car and I literally do have a headache. And that could be because of the driving style I had the last couple of days. You know, every now and then I'll go around the corner harder than I need to, or give it a bit of a squirt because I want to feel that sheer power and force. And that's all it could be. Or it could be because my mind still has not wrapped, or my brain has still not wrapped around the concept of what this car is. Like, I'm sitting a good, it has to be at least over a meter off the ground, at least a meter off the ground. And then when I accelerate, it stays planted. Like, you know, it could be gravity. Gravity can have something to do with this. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, It just doesn't make sense. That's it. Like, this car doesn't make any sense.